Hey everybody.
Sean and Kelly here, Price and Price Group of Samson Properties. What are we talking about? Do I say it?
You get to say it. What are
right.
we talking about?
We are going to talk about 3 different examples of how zoning will affect your home purchase decisions. All right.
I got 3 words for you.
What's your 3 words? I got 3 examples.
Well, I got 3 words.
Okay, go for it.
Goats and chickens.
So this is example number 1.
Yes.
All right,
I am so disappointed about this, right?
Are.
Okay,
Yep.
So we're about to, one of our babies is about to fly the nest and everything, and I think in a little bit of self-soothing, loving husband says, you know what, babe, it's okay. You go ahead and let's get those goats and chickens.
Get those goats and
like
chickens.
You've been wanting to have goats and chickens in your backyard, and I'm like, sweet baby Jesus, yes. Because I know how many chickens I can have per whatever square footage. I know how many goats I can have. I knew everything. I did all the stuff, right?
Yep.
Checked our HOA bylaws. Yes. As long as it's not commercial, I can get my goats and chickens. We're picking out names, right? Like, I'm naming my goats after the children who have already left. And then I do what I thought was the last, oh yeah, I guess I need to check the Fairfax County zoning, for just
whatever
to make sure, be a super responsible adult. And when I did, I don't know why, maybe it's because of where I grew up, right? I'm like, everybody has the right to have their own goats and chickens if they want to.
That's right.
We get our own eggs. No. Sorry, Fairfax County. You have to be at least 2 acres.
Yep.
We're about 1. So
no goats and chickens.
No goats and chickens in Fairfax County unless you're on 2 acres minimum.
So that is an example that if you really want to have goats and chickens on your property, or another example that goes along the same line is horses. There's a certain amount of acreage. I just used your word. Acreage.
I got in your head.
I can't even say acreage anymore. There's a certain lot size for you to be able to have a horse, and it varies by county and by jurisdiction.
Right.
So when you're considering livestock or what you want to do with the property, that is certainly an example.
You must check. Yep. No little chickens.
Yep. Well, I've got an example.
Go.
You want to hear it?
Is it as heartbreaking as mine?
Maybe for the buyer.
Okay.
So we had a buyer. We actually have this happen quite often. Buyers that are looking at properties for investment purposes. So it could be, a short-term rental. Your counties have different rules. There's only, in Loudoun County, for example, you can do short-term rentals. You can't in Fairfax County. You can in Alexandria City and certain parts of Alexandria, but so it's very, very specific for that.
Yeah.
But one of our buyers wanted to buy a lot and build a triplex, and it was a very sound idea. They wanted to build a triplex.
So this is not short term. This is long term.
No, this is long term.
Right? Okay.
They wanted to live in one and rent the other 2 and kind of house hack it.
That makes sense. I love it.
Yeah, but in Fairfax County, there are certain areas that you can't do that. You can't put multifamilies in every area, especially it not only comes down to the county, it can come down to the city, and then it can come down to the HOA itself or the neighborhood rules.
Right, that's true.
So you have to check all of these rules, all of these jurisdictions before you buy a property to get yourself in a situation.
Yeah.
And ADUs, accessory dwelling units.
Yeah.
There are all other rules about that as well. So, for example, our HOA doesn't allow them, even though we have plenty of room on our lots.
Yeah, and I think Fairfax County allows ADUs.
I think they do. Yeah.
So that was a box I checked, right? Yeah. I knew the zoning for ADUs with Fairfax County. I knew to check that, but I'm like, who wouldn't allow chickens?
Yeah.
Forget the goats.
And that's a great example. So Fairfax County allows it.
Yeah.
So, but our neighborhood doesn't.
Right, that's
true. So it's fine.
Our neighborhood does not.
Whoever has the most strict rules that applies to your property, they win.
That is my new painting place. No, I'm kidding. I'm not building anything.
That's my gym with a bedroom and somebody that lives there.
Yeah, when I get kicked out.
Yeah. All right. So that's another example,
Yeah.
And it can be very, very specific. So the third example is a little bit more municipalities. So, for example, Great Falls, Virginia. They are intentionally preserving these large lots. They're intentionally preserving single family homes. So in that city, even though in Fairfax County you can do all this stuff, in Great Falls, The lots have to be a certain minimum size.
Mm-hmm.
They don't allow any multifamily. There are no townhouses. There are no condos in Great Falls
Right.
proper. So that's you know,
we
that's,
don't even have a drive-through food place. I think that's
right.
like a big no-no.
We don't even have fast food.
Yeah, and you know
Yeah.
what? People on the Great Falls who go to the meetings and everything, they're adamant, and we don't even want to get rid of our one-lane bridges. Like, we are maintaining. We've got the village and we've got everything.
Yeah.
It's a specific little feel, a vibe that we like to maintain in Great Falls, which is why chickens would work.
Whereas if you go just a little bit over, you hit Arlington. Arlington, they have completely different rules. There are multifamilies all over the place. In fact, they have recently passed rules where you can have a neighborhood that is specifically zoned for single family housing, and you can actually put a high density unit inside that neighborhood.
Is that what they call the muddy middle?
Messy middle, there's different names for it, but so there are different options, and
I think it's a decent idea.
Well, it's a decent idea for Arlington because it's so dense there and it's so limited.
Exactly.
But it does bring down property values. So you have
true,
people.
that's true.
Yeah, if you have a neighborhood that's all single family homes and then you put in a bunch of townhouses, that can bring down property values. So it's really important to know what the zoning is, especially if you have a specific intent for the property.
And especially if you're entering perimenopause, kids are leaving the house, and you get your heart set on goats and chickens.
All right, so
Just
we'll see you next week. We're about to have a breakdown here. All right, so if you have any questions about this, or if you have any specific intentions with, another example is you can't have a kitchen in a basement. You can't put a stove in a basement.
Yeah, you can have a quasi kitchen in a basement, right? But if you ever, when you're house hunting and you're looking around and you see these basements are totally decked out and it looks like a full kitchen and everything, but you're like, wait, what? The cuss? There's no stove? You're not allowed. Yeah,
that's right.
It's a fire hazard.
Yep. Okay. So if you have any questions, let us know, and
thanks
we
for
will
sidetracking me off of my almost meltdown.
I did. I saved them. All right. We'll see you guys next week.
Bye.
All right, here we are with this week's market snapshot. What's happened in the Northern Virginia real estate market in the last 7 days in under 5 minutes. Here we go. Go.
All right, everybody. As usual, the orange line is buyer activity, and the blue line is going to be new listings that have hit the market. Sean's going to explain to us what is going on. Sean, what is going on?
All right, so as you can see by this fantastic graph, buyer activity has decreased again for the second week in a row. Inventory actually increased this week. Again, buyer activity typically follows the previous week, so it was down last week, so it's going to be down a little bit this week. Inventory did just go up, so we would expect buyer activity to respond and go up a little bit next week as well. But what we did see was this gap narrowed. Do you agree with that?
I do agree with that. Yeah.
So this gap narrowed. This is demand. This is supply. So this narrowing gap brought us into a little bit weaker state for the seller's market. So it looks like we've kind of hit where we're going to be with the seller's market as far as like the chaos of it, which is good.
But not for summer, right? Just for now.
Yeah, it'll pick up a little bit.
Because summer is going to pick up, right?
It should
with
pick
being
up a
more
little
of
bit.
a seller's market. And I always like being reminded, because to me your solid orange line there looks like a base, and please remind us all what the solid orange line is.
That is such a great point.
Thank you.
So for the last several years we have been hanging out above this orange line. So it looks like the ground.
Yeah.
Well, this is actually a normal market. This is a neutral market. So if
it's like not buyer or sell market, not seller market.
Exactly.
It's the perfect.
Yeah. So a good, healthy market for both buyers and sellers. We would be kind of hovering in this area right here.
As close to that line as possible, right?
That's right.
Okay.
That's right. Now, if we're too far down here, then that means we have the buyer. It's in a buyer's market. That means that there's more supply than there is demand, which we're in the opposite situation now.
Right. And have been.
Okay. So what does this mean for buyers? Be strategic, be quick, find the property you want, go in, be very strategic with your offers, be prepared to be aggressive, and just protect yourself, make sure you're protected as much as possible. Sellers, fantastic time to sell. Things are flying off the shelf as long as you price it right for its condition.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Any questions, reach out to us, and we will see you guys next week.
Bye.